Episode 6: The Explosive Growth of China's Organ Transplantation Industry After 1999.
各位观众大家好
Greetings,
欢迎
everyone.
大家来到
Welcome to the Ironclad Irrefutable Evidence Seminar Series. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share this program. This is a critical issue related to the well-being and security of each individual, every community, and the entire society. Thank you very much for your attention and support. First, let me answer the question I left you with last time. Do you know when the explosive growth of organ transplants happened? Where it happened? The answer is, it happened in China after 1999. China's organ transplant industry showed explosive growth after 1999. First of all, let me say something real quick. In most cases, liver transplants in China, and everywhere in the world as well, are whole liver transplants. A liver transplant definitely means that one person has lost their life. In order to show you the change in the volume of organ transplants before and after 1999 in China, I'm going to use liver transplantations as an example since it is a relatively simple and easy way to count the number of cases. 1. The liver transplant volume in China before 1999. There were 135 liver transplants conducted in China in the 20 or so years before 1999. That's an average of 5 or 6 transplants per year. From 1977 to 1983, 57 liver transplants were performed across 18 hospitals in China, and no transplant patient survived for more than 1 year. From 1984 to 1990, clinical liver transplants in China paused for 6 years. From 1991 to 1998, there were a total of 78 clinical liver transplants in China. Therefore, a total of 135 liver transplants were done over the 21 years between 1977 and 1998. Traditionally, Chinese people believe that taking out someone's organs after death is the most disrespectful thing one can do to the deceased. They also believe it brings bad luck to their family. This belief system has been a huge barrier to the development of the organ transplant industry in China. Before we move on, I want to mention that since the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, began the persecution of Falun Gong in 1999, tens of millions of Falun Gong practitioners were illegally arrested for peacefully appealing to the Chinese government and clarifying the truth about their practice. Simultaneously, a large number of organ transplant centers were rapidly established, and the number of organ transplants in China increased dramatically. Was there something ominous happening after 1999? 2. The liver transplant volume in China after 1999. I'd like to share with you some data we have collected from a variety of sources. 1. Sunlian Life Weekly. The CCP's official media outlet reported on September 23, 2004, that there were 118, 254, and 486 liver transplants performed in 1999, 2000, and 2001, respectively. This source also mentioned that there were 996 liver transplants performed in 2002. 2. On March 4, 2007, Peking University People's Hospital Liver Transplant Center reported that more than 1,500 liver transplants were completed nationwide in 2003. 3. The China Liver Transplant Registry Network was originally a voluntary nationwide scientific registry system for collecting liver transplant data in China. This system later became mandatory. Based on the information from its webpage, we estimate over 2,500 liver transplants took place in 2004. Almost 4,000 liver transplants took place in 2005. Approximately 4,848 liver transplants took place in 2006. Let me talk more about the China Liver Transplant Registry Network's data. 1. According to the registry, in the 18-month period from January 1, 2005 to June 22, 2006, 5,644 liver transplants took place. That's 313 transplants per month, or 3,762 transplants per year. The annual transplant volume for this period is approximately 387 times more than the transplant volume for the 8-year period from 1991 to 1998. There were only 9.7 liver transplants per year and 78 liver transplants in total during that time frame. 2. Initially, the data we obtained showed there were about 4,230 liver transplants performed in 2006. This would have meant that during the 8-year period from 1999 to 2006, there were a total of 14,085 liver transplants, which is a 180-fold increase in the number of liver transplants compared to the previous 8-year period. According to the website of the China Liver Transplant Registry Network, 8,486 liver transplants were performed from April 6, 2005 to December 31, 2006. Based on this information, during this 21-month period, the average number of transplants performed per month was 404 cases, and there were approximately 4,848 estimated liver transplant cases in 2006. Thus, the number of liver transplants from 1999 to 2006 could actually be 15,207, which is 190 times more than the volume between 1991 and 1998. 3. To provide slightly more concrete evidence of the transplant volume in China after 1999, I want to show you a couple of screenshots of the China Liver Transplant Registry's website. From January 1, 2005 to June 22, 2006, the number of registered liver transplant cases in China was 5,644. From January 1, 2005 to June 24, 2007, the number of registered liver transplant cases in China was 9,911. By subtracting these two numbers, we see that during the 12-month period from June 22, 2006 to June 24, 2007, the number of officially announced liver transplants in China was approximately 4,267. This number is 436 times greater than the average annual liver transplant volume from 1991 to 1998, which were 9.7 cases per year. Although the CCP's shady organ harvesting from live Falun Gong practitioners was exposed to the international community in 2006, this source of information indicates that China still conducted 4,267 liver transplants from June 22, 2006 to June 24, 2007. Please note that the number above is only the number of liver transplants reported by the CCP. The actual number of transplants is much more alarming. Judging by the data reported by some individual hospitals, the actual number of organ transplants appears to be dramatically higher. The following is an example. 3. The annual number of liver transplants in Tianjin First Central Hospital before and after 1999. According to its official reports, Tianjin First Central Hospital completed its first successful liver transplant in May 1994. During the 5 years from 1994 to 1998, there were 8 liver transplants, averaging 1.6 cases per year. However, after 1999, the number of transplants each year increased exponentially. In 1999, there were 24 cases, followed by 78, 129, 272, 289, and 800 cases in 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, and 2004, respectively. In 2005, there were 647 liver transplants. The annual number of liver transplants conducted at Tianjin First Central Hospital increased by hundreds of times after 1999. Tianjin First Central Hospital opened a new transplant building on September 1, 2006. and the number of beds available was increased from 120 to more than 500. Its website stated the average length of stay for liver transplant patients is 25 to 30 days, and their published information, which we have archived, said the bed occupancy rate of this hospital went as high as 131.1% in 2013. There are 3 elements involved in estimating the annual liver transplant volume of Tianjin First Central Hospital after 2006. The first element is the number of beds. Tianjin First Central Hospital became a Class A tertiary hospital on April 7, 1994. It appears from our archived link that in 2013 the average bed turnover rate of Class A tertiary hospitals in China was 103%. Bed turnover rate, BTR, measures productivity of hospital beds, and it represents the number of patients treated per bed, usually 1 year. We can tell that as a Class A tertiary hospital, the hospital beds in Tianjin First Central Hospital were fully occupied and utilized in 2013, although another official media source reported this hospital had more than 700 dedicated transplant beds in use. We will use the more conservative figure of 500 beds for our calculation. The second element is bed occupancy rate. Bed occupancy rate, BOR, is a measure of utilization of the available bed capacity. It represents the percentage of a facility's beds that are occupied each day of a specific period. Tianjin First Central Hospital's stated rate is 131.1% in 2013. How could the hospital's bed occupancy rate be higher than 100%? Let's take a closer look. If an inpatient hospital bed is occupied for one 24-hour cycle, that bed has a bed occupancy rate of 100%. According to media reports, Tianjin First Central Hospital once rented an entire floor in a nearby hotel as a temporary inpatient unit to accommodate overflow. Also, they could add additional beds in regular rooms or in hallways to accommodate transplant patients in case of need. So the actual bed count exceeded their regularly maintained capacity, and the percentage went over 100%. The third element is average inpatient length of stay. Again, as stated, the average length of stay for liver transplant patients is 25 to 30 days. Here's how to determine the hospital's annual transplant volume. We multiply the number of beds at the hospital's new transplant unit, 500 beds, by the number of days in a year, 365 days. Then we multiply that number by the hospital's bed's occupancy rate, 131.1%. We divide the resulting number by the average length of stay, 25 to 30 days, and what's left is the estimated annual number of transplant cases at Tianjin First Central Hospital. Now, let's look at a few different scenarios to determine an estimated range of transplant cases for the year of 2013. If the bed occupancy rate is 131.1% and the length of stay is 30 days, the total number of liver transplants is 7,975. If the bed occupancy rate is 131.1% and the length of stay is 25 days, then the total number of liver transplants is 9,570. One of our archived links said that the bed occupancy rate of a Class A tertiary hospital in China is generally above 90%. If this is true, the estimated range of annual transplantation quantity at Tianjin First Central Hospital will be: if the bed occupancy rate is 90% and the length of stay is 30 days, the total number of liver transplants is 5,475. If the average length of stay is 25 days, and plug this number into our equation and leave the bed occupancy rate at 90%, the total number of liver transplants at this hospital would be 6,570. So our conservative estimate is that this hospital was conducting about 5,000 to 8,000 cases per year after 2006. This figure is thousands of times greater than the average rate of 2 cases per year before 1999. 4. We suspect that the actual number of transplants is more than 10 times than the official announced number. In 2015, we randomly selected 11 hospitals to review the numbers of their transplant cases. Our investigation estimates that their actual transplant volumes are 10 to 20 times higher than the publicly announced figures. For example, Peking University People's Hospital officially published that they performed 125 organ transplants per year, but based on the information from China Economic Weekly, Peking University People's Hospital once performed 4,000 liver and kidney transplants in 1 year. In September 2013, Zhu Jiye, the head of the Organ Transplantation Research Institute of Peking University and the director of the Hepatobiliary Surgery Department at Peking University People's Hospital, said in an interview with China Economic Weekly, prior to launching the pilot project in 2010, organs from executed prisoners accounted for almost all organ sources in China. Our hospital once performed 4,000 liver and kidney transplants in 1 year, and the sources of these organs were all executed prisoners. A comparison chart of published transplant numbers and actual transplant numbers at 11 hospitals. Despite Peking University's People's Hospital's official annual transplant volume being reported as 125 to 200, it is very likely the actual number is probably above 3,000 up to 4,000. We will elaborate on this in future episodes. Due to time constraints, today I have only explained some data related to the significant growth of China's organ transplant industry after 1999. In the next episode, we will discuss the explosive growth of China's transplant institutions and organ overseas sales. For more details, please watch Episode 7, Rapid Growth of Organ Transplant Institutions in China After 1999, and Their Overseas Sales. In particular, please note that this is a worldwide unrestricted war without gunpowder. The CCP's crime of live organ harvesting from Falun Gong practitioners not only continues, but has spread throughout society. For example, in 2013, a 6-year-old child, Little Binbin, in Shanxi, went missing. 2 days later, he was found with his eyes gouged out for his cornea. Dozens of university students in Wuhan disappeared for no reason in recent years, and countless children and women go missing every year. Live organ harvesting has become a threat to everyone. Perhaps, as we are talking, many kind and innocent people are being put onto operation tables for their organs. And also, many have been detained in dark prisons for many years, and their hearts, livers, and kidneys are waiting to be excised in an indescribably cruel way at any moment. How urgently they need rescue from the outside world. How excruciating it is for their parents, brothers, and sisters to bear the pain of missing their loved ones for years. Live organ harvesting signifies an unprecedented atrocity that has never existed on this planet. We cannot heartlessly ignore the fact that the Chinese Communist Party is ravaging and killing people. We cannot watch the CCP flagrantly destroy the bottom line of morality with lies, coercion, and financial lures that aim to silence and lead the entire human race to fundamental destruction without taking action. We urge everyone to like, subscribe, and spread the word about our program. Let your family, relatives, friends, neighbors, co-workers, and anybody else in your social circle know the facts of the CCP's mass organ harvesting from living Falun Gong practitioners. Please tell the whole world the truth and stand together to put a stop to the CCP's crimes against humanity. This is a critical issue related to the well-being and security of each individual, every community, and our entire society. Thank you very much for your attention and support.
感谢各位朋友，感谢大家的关注支持。
World Organization to Investigate the Persecution of Falun Gong, WOIPFG, was founded on January 20th, 2003. It is based in New York with branches in Europe, Australia, Asia, and Canada. WOIPFG's mission is to investigate the criminal conduct of all institutions, organizations, and individuals involved in the persecution of Falun Gong. To bring such investigations, no matter how long it takes, no matter how far and deep we have to search, to full closure, to exercise fundamental principles of humanity and to restore and uphold justice in society. The principle of our investigation holds that those who have committed crimes shall be brought to justice. Individuals shall bear the same responsibility for their involvement in their organization's crimes, and those instigating the persecution shall bear the same responsibility of those who have physically carried out the persecution. We intend to uproot state-sanctioned crimes and safeguard human morality. The criminal conduct of all individuals within organizations, units, and departments involved in the persecution will be thoroughly investigated and brought to justice.